All right, so I want to go through the translation homework. Hopefully, my dog will not start barking at any point here. My wife's on a conference call, so she's locked in the office with me. Yeah, she's very vigilant about the UPS man. Okay, anyway, so most of you guys did pretty well on these. Actually, pretty much all of you did really well on these. I did see a few little mistakes here and there, but that's to be expected. And I can confidently say all y'all who turn these in seem to be getting the basic ideas of how these connectives work and how we symbolize statements. English statements, we put them in symbols, and even how we translate back from symbols to English statements. Um, so I'm just going to go through these. It won't take too long. Most of y'all got mostly correct answers anyway, but I think it's good to go through and explain these just to be really clear. Okay, so the first, we get this bunch of statements about, Ralph and Ed being tall and handsome, and, so how do we symbolize this? Most of you guys saw this, look, we're going to need four different letters here, right? There's two guys, but there's four different facts, four distinct facts that the statement's talking about, so we can break it down into those statements, right? And we should break it down into those statements. When we're doing logic, we want to break it down into the simplest facts possible. Um, you know, we could cheat on this, and I saw one of you two of y'all do this. It's like, well, they're both tall and handsome, or they're both handsome. One letter for both of them. No, I think technically that's right, but it's better when we're doing this. The whole point is to break things down as simply as possible, right? So to that end, here's how I would put it. You can use whatever letters you want. Doesn't matter. I'm just a very literal person, so I'm going to do A, B, C, D, right? A, Ralph is tall. B, Ralph is handsome. C, Ed is tall. D, Ed is handsome, right? Our first statement, either both Ralph and Ed are tall or both of them are handsome. Pretty simple statement, right? Pretty easy to translate. A and C, Ralph is tall, Ed is tall, in the parentheses, or B and D, Ralph is handsome, Ed is handsome, right? Really simple. I don't think anybody got this one wrong. Not too tricky. Both Ralph and Ed are either tall or handsome, right? So we're saying that both of these guys, they're either one or the other, right? So A or B, Ralph is either tall or handsome, and C or D, Ed is either tall or handsome, right? Because it's saying, both of these guys, they're one or the other, so pretty easy as well, I think. Now, the last two, when I saw people had problems, it was always with the last two of these. And I think it's because when we start throwing knots in, it complicates it, right? Usually people do well on these, but I think these, bear a little bit more explanation. And they're also more complicated because there's more than one right answer. So, both Ralph and Tall are neither tall nor handsome. Now think about what this statement is saying. It's saying, well, for both of these guys, that Ralph is neither tall nor handsome, Ed is neither tall nor handsome, right? Well, how do we symbolize that? Well, there are actually two different ways, right? So, first of these says A or B and C or D, right? And it's important when we put the not here and the parentheses, right? So, this not A or B is only true if A and B are both false, right? If Ralph is tall or handsome, then this is false. If he's not tall and he's not handsome, then this not outside the parentheses is true, right? Remember, the or statement is true if either one of the letters is true. This not says the whole or statement is false, so that's what we want. And not C or D, also saying, well, it's not true that Ed is either tall or handsome, right? Now, since it has the neither in there, I would probably prefer the first one here, but it is completely right if you symbolize this a different way. The other way you could do this is not A and not B, and not C and not D. So why is that right? Well, just think about it. Think about De Morgan's laws. You know, with De Morgan's laws, we can turn this A or B. You know, we put the not there. You know, the little wedge becomes an and A and B both get a not symbol, so it means the same thing, right? Same goes for the not C or D. You know, using De Morgan's laws, we see that these are exactly the same logically, so for our purposes, they have the same meaning. And just think about it kind of intuitively, right? What is it saying? It's saying, well, Ralph isn't tall and Ralph isn't handsome. So not A, Ralph is tall, not B, Ralph is handsome, and oh, by the way, Ed isn't tall, not C, and Ed isn't handsome, not D. These two different statements both are true and false under exactly the same circumstances. They're logically equivalent, so either one of them would be right here. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. It's a little complicated, but, you know, it's important. When I did see mistakes here, it was like when people would put the not on the wrong side of the parentheses, or they would use an and when they should have used an or. But for the most part, y'all got it right. I just want to spend more time on this one. It's a little more complicated. Final one, neither Ralph nor Ed is both tall and handsome. So think about what the statement is saying. It's saying, well, neither of these guys is both tall and handsome. Now, for all we know, you know, person could be tall but not handsome, or handsome but not tall. It's just saying both of these guys, neither of them are both of these things, right? So how do we translate that? Well, again, two possible translations. They basically mean the same thing. Either one works here, right? So, you know, first one, A and B would say Ralph is tall and Ralph is handsome. Well, not A and B says, well, it's not the case that both of these are true, which is what our statement says, right? Then we have an and here. Second part of it, not C and D, just says, well, it's not the case that Ed is tall and Ed is handsome. Now we could do this a different way. Not A or not B. Well, that statement is true as long as Ralph either isn't tall or he isn't handsome, right? Same truth conditions, same thing as the not A or B up here. And not C or not D. Again, same exact truth conditions. It's true as long as Ed isn't tall or Ed isn't handsome, right? All right, so hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And again, you know, if you think back to De Morgan's laws, you can see these mean exactly the same thing, right? You know, but I think just intuitively you can also understand, okay, that's why either one of these ways of symbolizing it works. For purposes of logic, they mean the same thing. All right, final slide. I'm gonna go through the other ones pretty quickly. Most of you guys, these are pretty wordy, but most of y'all didn't have problems with them. Okay, so let T stand for taxes will go up, and D for the deficit will go up. Translate the following formulas into ordinary English. T or D, very simple. Taxes will go up or the deficit will go up. Not T and D, and not parentheses, not T and not D. The very wordy, very literal translation of this, probably the better one for our purposes, is it is not the case that taxes and the deficit will both go up. You know, because that's what the first one's saying. These two aren't going to happen together. Second one saying it is not the case that neither taxes nor the deficit will go up. Second one says, well, it's not the case that not taxes and not deficit going up, right? Now, look, I actually think this one's really badly symbolized. You You guys are thinking, well, you wrote it, you're to blame, haha. That's not true. I actually cribbed this from a logic book. Joke's on y'all. And I think he writes this badly to make it harder, and it does make it harder. But remember what I said about the not and De Morgan's rules and all that? This second statement we could simplify to, we take that not, we distribute it, we turn the and into an or. Basically, the second statement is just saying taxes or the deficit will go up, right? So logically equivalent to the second one would be basically T or D, right? No one would ever talk in the roundabout way of this symbolization. Most normal people would say taxes and the deficit won't both go up, but one or the other will, right? So, yeah, for our purposes, we should be as literal as possible, but I think this second, shorter, less of a mouthful sentence means the same thing. So there you go. This is a bad symbolization, right? We should try to stay, the simpler you can make your symbolization, the better, and the closer you can stay to ordinary English, also the better. Aesthetically, I just don't like this one, right? I guess I should be less lazy and come up with my own exercises, right, if I don't like it. Anyway, whatever. Finally, C, T, and not D, or not T and not D. Again, not too difficult, right? When you think about it, taxes will go up and the deficit won't go up, or neither taxes nor the deficit will go up. Okay, hopefully these are all pretty clear to you guys. Like I said, most of y'all did pretty well. A few odd mistakes here, some of which I think were maybe typos. I saw a few odd not symbols on a few that I think y'all didn't intend, but very happy most of you seem to have this down cold, and everybody seems to have the basic ideas. All right, so if y'all have any questions, please email, give me a call, whatever, get in touch. I'm here, it's my job. But all right, hopefully that clears any confusion up, and it all makes sense why I answered these the way I did.